Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever walked into your child's room and they quickly close their computer or go away from their phone really fast, pretend like they weren't on it? Have you ever heard noises or saw certain things or have seen certain things on your kid's phone that is inappropriate for any age, let alone your 10, 11, 12, or even 15-year-old? Well, if this topic of pornography is something that you've thought about and how to talk about it with your kids is something that you've never had any guidance for, well, this video is for you. Hello, I am your host, Chananya Abraham. I'm a psychotherapist and a coach, parenting coach based in Connecticut. Click the link below so you can see how you can get in touch with us. And if you have any questions on this topic or when it comes to parenting or some guidance of how to go about certain things, please feel free to reach out to us. So when it comes to pornography, I think there are some very, very important things of how to go about it that can really be helpful and help us be more receptive, help our children be more receptive to how we are going to deliver and have a really, really important conversation with them. So I think the first and foremost thing when it comes to talking about pornography to our kids is to approach it with curiosity and not shame. So, for example, walking over to your kid and saying something along the lines of, or walking over to them and saying, hey, a little later today, can we have a discussion? I want to talk to you about something really, really important. Don't worry. You're not in trouble. Nothing happened. But I feel like there's something I really, as a parent, I have a responsibility to talk to you about. And I want to do it a little bit later on today. And then when you approach them, you talk about saying, you're going to have a phone, you're going to have internet, and there's going to be times where, whether it's on purpose or by mistake, you're going to come across some material online, some what's known as explicit material, whether it's naked men, naked females, and they are going about acting in a way where it's really supposed to be something that's supposed to be very, very private and very personal. And that's something called pornography. You might be familiar with it. It might be something that some of your peers or classmates or neighbors or even maybe one of your siblings have introduced you to. Well, this is something that it's really important for us to talk about properly and what it is. And I want to talk to you about that. So when you approach them, remember, rule number one is approach it with curiosity, no shame, and just have a conversation. Don't be accusatory. Don't say, well, I walked into your room yesterday and I saw certain things, or I heard certain noises coming from your room because you forgot to put on your headphones. This is not about getting them in trouble. This is about teaching them. So approach it in a very, very respectful, non-shameful way. That is rule number one. Rule number two. Explaining to your kid what pornography actually is. So you might see images or videos that make something that is very, very deep and meaningful and very, very personal and intimate. And it's usually something that's reserved for relationships or marriage. Just look like entertainment. And it takes something that's so sacred, being with your partner, and turns it into something that is just about entertainment and just about maybe people making money from it, which could usually be the case in pornography. And when it comes to real intimacy, real connection, and having a sexual relationship with a partner of yours, it's about connection. It's about being real. It's about commitment. But pornography takes all that, turns it, flips it over, and now just turn something into just pleasure. Yes, being intimate, having sexual relationships with your partner is supposed to be fun and you should have pleasure. But when it's exploited, when you're watching pictures of others, sometimes they could be forced, sometimes they could be without their knowledge that they're being filmed, and those pictures could be something that is not necessarily something that they give permission to share with others. When we look at those things, it sort of takes away and adds a little bit of, let's call it dirt, onto our image of what intimacy and what sex is supposed to be. So when we talk to our kids about what pornography is and how it can really dampen the concept of what intimacy and sex is supposed to be, that can really help a child understand. And be prepared. They might have questions. You might stutter. You might have your own opinions of things. But when you're talking to your kid about this, make sure that they understand it's really not healthy to be seeing those things, because what's happening for the most part is rule number 3. Meaning, in rule number 3, we talk about the concept of explaining how it's affecting you and how the brain is affected. So when we talk about endorphins, when we talk about pleasure principles, when we watch certain things, it becomes addictive. And because we want to, we enjoy it. And when we see more of it, we just want to see more of it. And sometimes it could be hours and hours later before we actually realize, I should probably go to sleep now because I have school tomorrow. But when we talk to our kids and say, when we start down this rabbit hole, it can be really, really detrimental to our emotional, mental, and even intimacy levels of self, of how we're going to want to give over and be a part of intimacy going forward. Because the things that they are watching, or they might be watching, is non-realistic and not something that can be relatable for most of us. The way we go about talking to them is explaining how unhealthy and bad it can be and what's happening within the brain itself. Another big part of what pornography is rule number 4. In rule number 4, we talk about the concept of how real life relationships can be affected. So if someone is going to watch a video or see pictures of a body being exploited and used, so now they might think that when they go into a relationship, that's what intimacy is supposed to be, because that's what I saw. That's what has millions and millions of views. That's what I watched for hours and hours. That's what my friends talk about. But when we talk about it with our kids, for them to understand that those images, those videos, that's not reality. That's not what a relationship is supposed to be. It's really important for them to realize that the way they're going to have these images stamped into their memory is really, really going to affect the way they're going to have and seek relationships and build and hopefully enhance relationships through the concepts of sex and intimacy. So by explaining to them that it's not going to be helpful and it could be unhealthy and detrimental to future relationships, that could also be a very key point. But let's not forget the importance of making sure that this is not done in a threatening, even scary way. Yes, it's a serious topic and we should talk to them. So when you're having these conversations or something like this, have some food. Go out, go get a coffee or hot chocolate and just sit with them and talk to them about a very serious thing. But as a parent, as a guardian, you have an obligation to teach and give over these really, really, really important topics and talk about this. I think one of the most important things is rule number 5, when we talk about being open and honest and having conversation about this. When we tell our kids, I care about you so much. And the internet should be something that should be teaching you properly. And when it's not, when you're confused, you might have questions. Let's talk about this. Let's bring this into the room, us here in this family unit, where we can talk about this topic in a way where it's beneficial and going to enhance future relationships, maybe even the one that your child is in right now. When you see something that may be confusing or might make you stay up at night or bring about certain feelings inside, let's talk about it. Here's the rule that I want you to think about. Create an environment at home that instead of a child thinking, I cannot tell my parents this, turn it into, I can't wait to talk to my parents about this. You know how we do that? By having these type of very, very hard, but yet important and difficult conversations. It's really important to create an environment where the child feels that the door is always open. So quickly, again, let's go through what these 5 steps are when it comes to talking to your child about pornography. The first thing is to be curious and make it something that is a non-guilty conversation when it comes to talking to them. Number 2, we talk about the concept of what pornography actually is and how it's something that could be very detrimental to their own view of what sex and intimacy is. Number 3, we talk about the concept of brain science and the addictive personalities and how it's going to completely put on a pair of glasses that are unclean and unhealthy when it comes to what sex is and how they should be in relationships with others and looking at the opposite gender or even the same gender. Number 4, we talk about the impact that it's going to have on real life relationships. And number 5, make sure that these conversations are something that they want to come back to. Create an environment at home where you are able to be there for them. It doesn't mean that it's like a 7-Eleven, it's open 24/7, but give them the impression that this home is a 24/7 7-Eleven type place. You can always come knocking. Yes, you could be doing something else. And they also know they can come to you. And if they say it's really important, our job is to say, you know what, I'm coming home from my date night right now. No problem. I'm yours because this is important. But if it can wait about an hour till I get home, I will be there for you the second I get here. Create that environment for your kids. Thank you so much for watching this entire video. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, or maybe ideas for future topics that we can talk about, please feel free to reach out, information below, or leave a comment. And like always, remember, create a world where we like our children as much as we love them. I'm your host, Chananya Abraham. I hope you enjoyed this short little clip.